anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn. Who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Another low-scoring game tonight at Coors in the Mile High City, 3-0 for the Brew Crew. This is all about beer. You're at Coors Field. You got the Brewers. It's all aligned. The Brewers are up 3-0 on the Rockies, top of the ninth inning. Athletics up on the Halos, 4-0 in the bottom of the sixth inning. The Dodgers closed at minus 205 tonight, leading the D-backs 4-1, top of the third inning. 3-0 right now, end of 3 for the Baltimore Orioles. The total was 7. We're on the under 7. It's 7.5 right now. And San Diego have come back on Texas. It's 6-4 right now. And Fernando Tatis will be a starter for the National League All-Star team. And our boy Tommy is a San Diego fan. You like this, Tommy? Fernando Tatis is the first player in Major League Baseball history to start the All-Star game at shortstop and the outfield, which is a pretty impressive feat for Fernando Tatis. And even more impressively, he hasn't fallen off a motorcycle or anything in the last year. So we got Paul Bovey kicking it with us right now. We got our eye right now on the Seattle-Baltimore game. And we're talking NFL football. I tweeted this out earlier, and you said something, Paul, about the 11.5 with Baltimore. I think it's key. This is the time. This is and you would know better than anyone, but NFL futures and college football futures too. But college, I noticed there's not as many games, so there's not as much room for debate. You know what I mean? College, like they'll set the total like 12 games. Yeah, they're losing once or twice. It's a standard 10.5, 11.5, like sort of. NFL is different, but there's different numbers to different books, Paul. Point blank, right? You can get 11.5 out there, but you got to lay some juice. And you're not a juice guy normally, but I find it interesting when it comes to win totals. Like the Rams are a good example. I got a Rams bet here, Paul. LA Rams over 8.5 at minus 150. I would rather lay that than do the 9 and have to get to 10. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll do a little bit of both, but you know, how do you feel about that? Because normally you don't like laying a price, but I find when you're getting a full game in an NFL season, I would rather lay the juice to do it unless I'm really in love with a team at plus money to the over or something like that. But how do you feel about that? And how do you feel about my LA Ram pick at over 8.5? Because I think the Rams are one of the best teams in the NFC.
I think, look, Matt Stafford, I'm going to give him a lot of credit because the guy has been basically an Iron Man. Now,
I thought he was done a couple of years ago. I'll put my hand up.
Well, 10 years, you go back 10 years, and he's played full seasons in 8 of them. Now, he had that back injury. He played 9 games, and then he played 8 a few years ago. But he's taken a lot of hits and just keeps on ticking. And they did much to improve their secondary. They did bring over Tre'Davious White. He's going to be the big question mark. And if he performs, I think they're going to be right there. Now, the other issue is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, the last 2 years, has really fallen off. 1,500 total yards. The year prior to that, he had almost 2,000. So Cooper Kupp, he's missed a series of games over the last 2 years. They need him to step up. Obviously, you got Puka Nacua. He was great last year. And then you're going to look for Tutu Atwell to contribute. But I think the Rams at over 8.5 look pretty good if they could get that productivity, especially from Tre'Davious White, who they brought over from Buffalo.
Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the National Football League. And he gives this, it's a tough division, but I just find that for a team that I feel will be in the playoffs, they're going to get to 9 wins. We've talked about the Minnesota Vikings a bit. I think the Vikings are getting disrespected as well at 6.5. Sam Darnold, say what you will about him, but he's been around the league long enough, and I think he has improved. I think he has gotten better. I think if he's healthy, he could be an effective enough quarterback to win football games, especially when you're throwing to Addison, when you're throwing to Jefferson, when you know what I mean? You're handing it off to Aaron Jones. You've got a great coach. You've got the tight end. You got Hawkins. Like, you've got it all there on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, they're coming on. Flores is the DC there, smart guy, aggressive guy. And I don't have a problem with J.J. McCarthy either. So if Sam Darnold starts the season and he plays well, then, hey, Sam Darnold's the quarterback and they're winning games. If he starts the season and he gets hurt and J.J. McCarthy comes in, I don't really think it's a big drop-off, Paul, from Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. I think the Vikings have a lot of confidence in McCarthy, and we're not asking him to win a division or the Super Bowl. I'm asking him to win 7 games in a 17-game schedule. I like the Vikings over 6.5.
Yeah, and I'm going to just finish up on the Rams because I didn't bring this up. Kyren Williams was out 5 games last year. In the games that he played, they were 8-4, 5.0 yards a carry. So if they have him in the lineup, that bolsters your case for over 8.5.
And they drafted Blake Corum out of the Michigan Wolverines as well. National champion, stud running back. So this guy can add a little bit of depth to the running back rotation there.
Correct. And I would also say about the Vikings, they made some key acquisitions, signings on defense with Van Ginkel and Cashman from Houston. And I think they'll be better on defense. They picked up those key players, good players. And as you say, it's all up to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is on his last leg here as an NFL starting quarterback. This is his last chance. If he doesn't get it done here, he's going to be relegated to the bench warmer for the duration because, look, he's had his chances. He came up with the Jets. No excuses now. He's got the receivers. Let's see what happens. But I think you're onto something with the Vikings here. It's just that the division is going to be very tough. I mean, the wins aren't going to come easy against the Lions, against the Packers, who I think are going to go over the 9.5. And of course, the Bears. The Bears are the big question mark. How will Williams perform? So it remains to be seen if the Vikings can win within their division, which is going to be critical to your wager.
It is going to be a tough division. I don't dispute that. And that's one of the reasons why I actually like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over 7.5. The Buccaneers are another team. They're not flashy. They're not glamorous, but they re-signed everybody. Like, they didn't, the sky didn't fall. They didn't lose people. They're well coached. And the thing with Tampa, at 7.5 is an extremely low number. And when you're looking at betting a win total, guys, look at the division that they play in. So look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're getting the Carolina Panthers, who might be the worst team in football. We're the worst team in football last year. They won't be that much better. And the New Orleans Saints are terrible. So, yeah, if you're the Buccaneers, you got 4 games against the Panthers and Saints combined. And, okay, the Atlanta Falcons are supposed to be good. They're supposed to be good every year. Yep. And we'll see what happens. I get it. They got Cousins and Penix now at the quarterback position. But fine. Okay. Doesn't mean that Atlanta could still be good. And it doesn't mean the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can't win 8. I mean, they don't even have to have a winning record and I win this bet. I don't have a problem with Baker Mayfield. I think, they could win games, enough games to win that division again, actually. And they've got good skill position players. I don't have a problem with over 7.5 with the Bucs, Paul, specifically because of the division that they play in.
Look, they got a break. They re-signed Mike Evans at a bargain price. You're right. They brought back,
and he could have left. He wanted to stay. He goes, "I'm happy here." He could have said, "I want out." He goes, "No, I'm happy here. We got a good football team."
And Gabe, the Falcons are the trendiest team. And what happens when you're the trendiest team with a win total 9.5? Like, it's one of those things. Everybody's going to the window. It's their year. Carolina's going to be a little bit better. But what is it, 5.5? You're right. That's a great pick because Tampa Bay in that division, they're not losing any guys in that division, and the Saints reek. So I think we can definitely get 8 wins there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I like Tampa Bay, and again, Baker Mayfield. They gave him the $40 million guaranteed, 28 touchdowns last year versus only 10 picks, 64% completion. So he did the job. Let's see if he can have an encore performance this year.
One thing I don't like is the fact that they lost their coordinator. I thought Canales did a great job. He's a new coach at Carolina. I'll just throw that in there.
Good call.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, that I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Good stuff with Paul Bovey, looking at some NFL futures if you're just joining us. We're only 29 days away from the start of the NFL preseason right now. I will caution, and I've said this before in past years, when betting, if you're betting NFL futures, college football win totals, I'm talking about win totals in advance, I do prefer to take the under if I like the under on a team, because as we stated, bad things do happen to teams in training camp. You don't want it to happen, but it happens. Players get hurt. They miss games. That's, like the dynamic of teams change. There's always going to be a team or two that just has horrible luck in training camp and in the preseason leading into the season. You pull the trigger on the over on one of these teams, and, but on the other side, you get better numbers now. The sports books are aware of this, because if every team gets through unscathed, then they're going to start tightening it up. Like if you wait until September the 4th to bet on NFL win totals, you're not getting as good of a number now, but they're hanging on to your money, and they know that, right? And they know you know that. So it's like, if a sports book is going to hang on to your money and make money off the interest off of your money for a year or 6 months or whatnot, you better be, getting at least some sort of value. We discussed, do you want to go 8.5 and lay some juice? Do you want to go 9.5 at -110? There's different ways to approach it, but let's talk some CFL football. We got Joe Madden in the house, and speaking of win totals, Joe, when the season started, I was very adamant this year I was going to get involved in CFL win totals, and the Montreal Alouettes win total this year was 9.5. 4-0 so far. All right, like they only need to win 6 more games. The rest of out of the next 14 to hit, so they're 4-0. The Ottawa Red Blacks have 2 wins. We got them over 6.5. The BC Lions 11.5 was a little high, but the Lions are 3-1 and rolling along right now. The Saskatchewan Roughriders over 7.5. These guys are still undefeated. So absolutely killing. And your Calgary Stampeders, who everybody said, oh, they're going to be terrible. They're going to be terrible. Yeah, even if they're bad, they can still win 7 games. And you see this year, they're not that bad. They're a competitive football team, right? They're going to be in games. I think they're in tough this week in Montreal. But it's, I can't believe we're going into week 5. But I'll ask you, what's your feeling about the Calgary Stampeders and the Montreal Alouettes?
I really like what we've seen out of Jake Mayer so far. He's put on that size and he's looking more confident out there on the field. I do think the spread is too big, Gabe. I look at this matchup here, and Montreal definitely should get the win, but it's a spread of 9.5, and I do think Calgary can keep it within those numbers. You also look at Montreal, they're coming off that big win versus the Argos. And I think in this situation here, this is almost a letdown spot, but Montreal is too good to be a full letdown spot. I think they win, and they win this by 6.5, 7 points. They don't win this by 10 points. The spread is 9.5. So it's too many. I do think Calgary will have some success against them, but this defense of Montreal is playing so solid. Offensively, they're able to put up the numbers. Cody Fajardo is looking like an absolute stud out there on the field. I don't think Calgary wins, but they cover.
Cam, what do you think of the Stampeders and the Montreal Alouettes on Saturday night?
Gabe, we've been really good with Montreal, but I do agree with Joe on this one. I think Montreal is going to win this game, but asking them to win by 10, I think, is a little bit much. I think this could be a spot for Calgary. I've actually been surprised with their defense. I like some of the things they did against Winnipeg. Even when Strevler got into the game, they made some good plays. A lot better than I thought, actually. I'll give the Stampeders credit. Paredes is a good kicker. The special teams is good. I think Montreal goes, it's one of these situations, Gabe, where they win the game, but win by, 6-7 points, not 10. So I would take the Stampeders plus the 9.5.
I told a story briefly last night about my boy Nick Lewis. I got to get him on the show. And all-time leading CFL wide receiver of all time, Nick Lewis, longtime Calgary Stampeder. He ended his career on the Montreal Alouettes. And when he was on Montreal, they were really bad for one of the years. It was like the low point. Like they were a really bad team for a year or two, and he was on the team. And I used to speak to him, not on, during the week as friends. And we were talking. He said, Calgary. I said, yo, you guys get Calgary this week. The Alouettes were 1-8 or something. And he goes, oh, we'll beat them. And he told me, how he was on the Stampeders forever. And Montreal is like the team party, Joe, that they plan, on the road. It's sort of like when it's predetermined before the year starts. Oh, yeah, so when we go to Montreal, we're going to have that team party, or this is where we're really going to get after it and stuff. And sure, lo and behold, Montreal beat them. It was like their second win of the season. They beat Calgary. But it's not in my head. If you want to back it up, the Calgary Stampeders are 0-7 straight up and against the spread their last 7 trips to Montreal. The Montreal Alouettes are 13-1 against the spread the last 14 games in Montreal against them. Now, this is another one, guys. I did it once, Joe and Cam. I did it once. I was like, you know what? The Alouettes are putting their banner up and stuff. Ottawa can hang around with them. It was like 30-0 at the half. Yes. And I was like, I'm never messing with the Alouettes ever again. I'm not like, you know what I mean? Yeah, they won by 3 once, but the Alouettes, guys, they've won 13 football games in a row now, going back to last year, and they're 11-1-1 against the spread in those 13 games. I just can't get in front of this. And another thing is, too, Montreal have, when Montreal are good, they have, a little home field advantage thing going there. It's a smaller stadium. People are right on top of you. It's loud as hell. It's like Mississippi State, too, Cam. In Montreal, they have cowbells in Montreal. People are like, ding, 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 ding. They're ringing bells. And the thing is, Montreal are, like a lot of cities. The Alouettes are good, so people are going suddenly, right? They got 25,000 people. Yeah. So it's Saturday night, and the Alouettes like to put on shows now at home. They're like we got momentum. People are starting to come to our games. Philpott's unstoppable. Yeah. I think this game's going to turn into a bloodbath. It's going to be 44-17 Montreal or something. I hate laying double-digit points like this. It's 10 now even, but I'm gonna tease it up big time. Give me the Alouettes -3, but more CFL on the other side.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, I was taking Ricochet #1. When he was at +425, I said Ricochet's going #1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go #1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with 5 minutes to go?
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Baltimore hitting the ball hard. And sometimes Seattle are catching it, and sometimes it's going over the wall. 4-0 for the Birds right now. Middle of fifth. Seattle can't hit. They got one hit. And Baltimore's leading 4-0 in the baseball game. The LA Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, of course, because it's wild like last night, the Dodgers were up, but the D-backs have come all the way back to tie it up right now. They just scored 3 runs in the third. It's 4-4. New in-game total is 14.5, and we're only in the third inning right now. So a lot of baseball left, and 14.5. It's pretty high, but I'm not ready to pull the trigger on the under. We saw last night the Dodger game got stupid. The weather's starting to warm up right now. Pitchers kind of suck. The Dodgers can crush the ball, so I'm not ready to say that this game goes under 14.5. Any baseball for you tonight, Joe?
Yeah, I was looking at the Yurfie between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. I also put half a unit on the over 1.5 in that first inning, and that really goes back to you, Gabe. I did a show with you and Cam like 2 months ago, and I had the Nerfie in a Dodgers game, and you laughed and you went, "You can never take a Nerfie in a Dodgers game." And we saw the exact thing that happened in this one. It was a 3-1
5 runs tonight
game, right?
Exactly.
So I'm always playing half a unit on the Yurfie, half a unit on the over 1.5. When we look at Dodgers games, I'm really shocked, though. Gavin Stone's given up all of these runs to the Diamondbacks so far. He's been so phenomenally strong this season. And then I took Joey Estes over on his outs. I believe it was 17.5 outs here for the Oakland A's for Joey Estes. And I didn't put a play on that one. I just don't trust the Angels or the Oakland A's enough to really put a play on them on the side. But right now, with the Oakland A's up 5-0, I don't know. I'm tempted to take the Angels plus 4.5 at plus 195.
In-game total is 6.5. Not a lot of wiggle room here, actually. Figure it's kind of light. All right, so back to the CFL. One thing about the Dodgers, too, they don't have Mookie Betts right now, but quite frankly, their offense really hasn't missed a beat. As amazing as he is, they're still scoring a ton of runs. Ohtani just moved up a spot in Bats leadoff. So that's the whole thing, Joe. If you're betting no run in the first inning in a Dodger game, you're betting against Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and Will Smith. And between the three of them, one of them can, accidentally hit a home run, right? Like Will Smith touches the ball, and it's going to go over the wall. Ohtani is lethal as hell. And the Dodgers are good, starters. They actually do score early runs often. Their offense has been really good without Mookie Betts, actually. All right, so CFL football. We got a game tomorrow night. The Toronto Argonauts and one of the few undefeated teams, only 2 undefeated teams in the league. And one of them is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And the Roughriders don't have their starting quarterback, Trevor Harris, tomorrow. The Toronto Argonauts are now 4.5-point favorites. The total is 48.5. Cam, what's your pick for the Argos and the Roughriders?
I'm having a lot of problems with this game, but when McInnes was on, you got me thinking about that under. Shea Patterson Gabe, he's going to dump off the ball. You don't want to put that quarterback in those bad positions. The Argos licking their wounds. Montreal absolutely annihilated these guys, but doesn't 4.5 seem a little bit too much for you guys? That's a lot of points on the road for Toronto. I'm looking at the under. Maybe Saskatchewan tees to the under. 11.5 seems like a juicy number for me, Gabe.
Saskatchewan games go over, which is the problem. They find a way to get crazy, as we've seen historically. Shea Patterson starting quarterback tomorrow. Harris is out. Joe, what's your pick for this game?
This is a hard one because you do look at Shea Patterson and how he's going to do against Toronto off a loss. Toronto defensively has a couple of concerns for me, and I do think the home field advantage for Saskatchewan, it's one of the better ones in the whole league. I'm going to take Saskatchewan plus the 4.5. It's going to be a hard game, though. I think their running back will have success here. AJ, I'm drawing a blank on his last name, but I'm looking for him to be able to put up the yards here. I do think there'll be a lot of dumps. Yeah, a lot of dump-offs to him in this game.
Former Argonaut as well. They're going head-to-head. Interesting dynamic. The head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Corey Mace, was, of course, the defensive coordinator of the Toronto Argonauts. This guy's dialed in. He's doing a great job. I think it's an overreaction because Trevor Harris is out. It's going to change their offense a bit, but Shea Patterson, we'll see. This is his time right now. He's 27 years old, but we're talking about a player that was a stud at Ole Miss, started games with the Michigan Wolverines. He's played big games before.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, that I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the train has left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben, I don't know, I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. So, yeah, as I was saying, for those of you that are big college football fans, you'll remember Shea Patterson. He was great at Ole Miss. He was like the freshman of the month, and he was lighting it up. And then they got there was probation, and he left for Michigan. And at Michigan, but Michigan, the thing is, Michigan kind of held him back a little bit because Michigan was running a conservative offense at the time. So people expected him to be this big superstar because he was a stud in the SEC. And he was good. He wasn't great with Michigan. And he's kicked around the pro leagues for the last couple of years trying to find a spot. He was on the Montreal Alouettes briefly. He was on the BC Lions briefly. He went to the USFL last year. But he's found a home. He competed with Mason Fine for the backup quarterback position. And they decided they needed an upgrade. And they thought that Patterson was it. So the fact that he's had a week to prepare, and like I said, guys, this kid's played in bowl games. He's played against Alabama. He's played against Ohio State. Like, he's played in bigger games that he's playing in tomorrow night. We'll put it that way. So, it's not like nerves. It's like, oh, he's starting. It's like this kid started in a big house with 110,000 people every week, all right? And they were all critical of him. So he's used to, pressure, this kid. 27 now. I got confidence in him. I think I got a really good play caller. I'm going to call it out right now, guys. Saskatchewan wins this game outright on the money line, plus 180, and they remain undefeated. And if not, they lose, they'll lose a heartbreaker or something like that. And even the total, it makes sense to the undercam, but the Argonauts defense isn't very good. You can make plays against these guys. Everybody scores on the Argos. And the Argos last week, they did have problems against Montreal, but I will note Saskatchewan's defense is really good. Saskatchewan can get you off the field as well. So, you know what? I think the best bet, I don't love the total here. I think the best bet personally says Saskatchewan plus 4.5, and I think they can win on the money line. Joe, the Red Blacks and Bombers. Last night we were talking about this game, and it was 2.5, and I was like, damn, it's pretty light spread. I know that Zach Collaros is out. Chris Streveler is in. Ottawa at Winnipeg for the second time this year. They go head-to-head. Ottawa beat them earlier this year in Ottawa.
Yeah, and I think Ottawa has every opportunity of covering the spread and maybe winning outright again. You look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and this team is so beat up. There's so many injuries. Zach Collaros not on the field, I think, is going to be it's not going to be a good thing here for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They've been struggling with him, and now to have him not on the field and with all the other injuries that they're dealing with, I think the Ottawa Redblacks have every opportunity of getting another win. I'm waiting for that big game out of the wide receiver Rhymes out here, and I do think the two cornerbacks for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers weren't in practice this week, and I think we're going to see Drew Brown be able to get that ball moving down to him. So I'm going to look at Rhymes here. I don't have his numbers in front of me. I haven't seen his prop released yet, but I do think we're going to see big numbers out of him. And then Armstead, the running back, I think he gets work on the ground as well in this game. We know that the Ottawa Redblacks are able to really move that ball on the ground. So I think between those two players, we're going to see those yards coming in this game, and Ottawa has the opportunity to win.
All hell's going to break loose in Winnipeg if they don't win this game. They're getting extremely frustrated. They've gone from making 4 straight Grey Cup championship games to losing 4 straight games to start a season. This is uncharted waters for O'Shea and everybody. As you mentioned, their quarterback is out. Their star wide receiver, Kenny Lawler, is out. Dalton Schoen is out. Olivier has been out for the most part this season. I know they got him back, but Ottawa, to me, are one of the, and I took Ottawa over 6.5, but Ottawa are just sort of one of these teams. It's going to be a week-to-week thing, right? Like, yeah, they could beat you one week, but they can get blown out. And Ottawa did get lit up on the road against the Montreal Alouettes already this year. This is an all-in game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I think the Bombers are going to find a way to get it done in this game. Cam, what's your pick?
I couldn't agree more. This is it. You know what, you guys? You lost to Ottawa by 4 in the nation's capital. This is it for Winnipeg, and I know they have excuses. A lot of guys are banged up, but you got to win this game. This is that simple. But, Gabe, you bring up a good point with Ottawa. They're like a Jekyll and Hyde team. They can look good. They can look horrible, but this is it. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers at home going to 0-5. It's one of those situations where you get off the schneid. I like the Bombers to win this game probably by like 3 or 4, pretty close to the number. It's not going to be easy with their injuries, but I'll take Winnipeg.
Looking at the total of this football game, and it should be noted, Drew Brown, the quarterback of Ottawa, was on Winnipeg before, so O'Shea's going to know him. It's another one here. It's too light. Even though it doesn't make sense that, it's going to be a track meet automatically, but just sitting at 46, it's mid-20s for both teams. I think Strevler will move the ball. He's very inaccurate, Strevler, so it's not pretty, but he can move the ball with his legs, and I think I could complete like a 20-yard pass if you gave me like 10 opportunities against Ottawa. Like their secondary gets torched. Like if you watch Ottawa, their secondary, they line up so far off the ball. Like it's like, guys, like, quarterbacks light them up. Like, that game last week went up and down the field, man. Like, so I could see there being points in this football game. And then finally, Joe, we got the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. BC are laying 5. The total is 53.5. This total is really getting up there right now. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats fired their special teams coach this week. People want to fire the coordinator. They want to fire everybody, essentially, with Hamilton now. They keep losing these football games in heartbreaking ways. And quite frankly, I think the same thing could happen to them again. I'm not really in love with laying 5 with BC, but I could see BC like breaking Hamilton's heart and winning like 31-30 or something like that with a late field goal. What's your pick for this game?
Yeah, I could see it playing out exactly that way as well, Gabe, because BC is a stronger team in this matchup. Vernon Adams, I trust so much more than Bo Levi Mitchell. And while Bo Levi Mitchell is able to move that ball nicely down the field, Hamilton has been in such tight games and they're having these heartbreaking losses. And with the coaching change and McKnight coming in just yesterday, I don't think it's enough time for him to really turn around special teams and everything that we're seeing here. So I do think BC wins. I'm not sure if they cover 4.5, 5 points is a lot for BC to travel across the country and cover that spread, but I do think they get the win here. So it might be a parlay piece, BC on the money line with something else for me on Sunday, but Otherwise, it's Hamilton plus the points. I think it's just maybe a point too much. The field
Cam,
goal
what's your
game.
pick?
I'm with you guys. I think it's going to be an absolute shocker. Like BC ends up winning this game between 1 and 3. I like Hamilton with the spread. And Gabe, we didn't hit the number last time with the Hamilton-Ottawa game, which we thought was going over. But even at 53.5, I see points. I think both teams can put up lots of points. I like your 31-30s final. Good pick.
BC have struggled with Hamilton over the years for whatever reason. It's one of those weird things. And in fact, I remember last year getting extremely upset. It was like the game, every team is going to be good, but in an 18-game schedule, like even the BC Lions, whatever, I remember it was the Hamilton game. It was like Hamilton's third-string quarterback. It was like early last year, right around this time of the year, and Hamilton came into Vancouver, and they beat BC like 17-6 or so. It was really stupid, like ugly, ugly game. I think Vernon Adams got hurt, and like it was just a train wreck of a football game. And the BC Lions are actually 0-4 against the spread the last 4 games against Hamilton, as I mentioned. But I would expect there to be points in this game. So, Joe, before we get you out of here, NHL free agency, anything excite you? Any team catch your eye here on the way out? You got 30 seconds.
Oh, absolutely. The Nashville Predators picking up Stamkos. I'm just completely blown away that the Tampa Bay Lightning allowed him out. I really did think he was a key point to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I think the Nashville Predators, with everything that they've done in getting Stamkos, is amazing. And then Tarasenko today going to the Red Wings. Just mind-blowing that.
Hard not to love what the Preds have done. I agree.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, then I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn. Who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the train has left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. The Wicked Wednesday continues. Countdown to the 4th of July is on. We hope you got some great plans and enjoy the next couple of days. We're going to be off tomorrow night, and Friday we'll be back on Monday. Friday we're going to go see the Rolling Stones, who I have seen before, but I haven't seen them in like 30 years or something. Like I saw them like in the the 80s type of stuff. Like so I haven't seen them in a long time. And I got to be honest, normally, listen, I'm a big fan of a lot of bands that I don't go see. Like, I love Judas Priest to death. They're one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band of all time. But I don't have an interest in seeing Rob Halford at 78 and 4 other dudes that aren't Judas Priest. And, right, like I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, no, I saw them when they were great. And I don't, I have nothing against them doing it, though, still. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I go to see some bands that aren't all original and it's awesome. But a lot of times I'm like, I'm sure the Stones are good, but I know what they're going to do. But I will say, the reviews and everything that you see, and I know people, everyone's gone in every city. Like Scott Farrell went to MetLife last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever. He said it was awesome. Our boy T-Bone went to see them in Denver the other night, and he was, tweeting out videos of it and having the time of his life at the show. And everybody says the same thing. They're like, damn, you would not believe that they're in their 80s, right? From an energy standpoint, they just drill it. So I'm like, you know what? How many more tours do these guys actually have? But people have been saying that about them for like 30 years. So
true.
Maybe they have a couple of more tours in them, but there's not a ton of cities on their tour. So if they're going to come to Vancouver, the least I can do is go see them. George, you a Rolling Stones fan?
I am a Rolling Stones fan. Probably a top 5 band for me. I saw them, I think it was wasn't the 80s. 80s would have been the Steel Wheels tour, right? So I probably saw them in the 90s, the tour after that.
Yes, that's what I saw. Steel Wheels, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely a top 5 band for me. A funny story about them. The Super Bowl, remember they played at the Super Bowl? It was the only Super Bowl. I was at a friend's house. We were watching at a party. But that was when DVR first came out, and every woman or girl that was there, we had to stop because, they had to go tinkle during a commercial. So we were stopping commercials because they wanted to see the Doritos commercial or the Pepsi commercial, and we were a half hour behind the game. And I left during halftime. The Stones were playing. I left, so I went home. I couldn't take this anymore. I wanted to go and watch the game live because I was so far behind. It was the worst experience ever, and I will never do that again.
Quite the story.
They were stopping it to watch the Doritos commercial because Jenny Ann had to go tinkle. It was a joke.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad party, George. That party sounds like it sucks.
I'm just put off by your constant use of the word tinkle here.
Tinkle, I agree.
What do you want me to say? They had to take a leak, okay? Someone had to go pee.
All right. I feel like Kramer on the set of the Merv Griffin show. Yeah. Can we change the subject?
Yeah.
Thanks, Kurtz. Just for you, Kurtz, actually, you know what? I didn't get a picture of this because it's so stupid, but would you sit in the toilet seat, Kurtz, in the front row of a baseball game?
No.
Do you see that? I'm like, why? Why do they do that? Like, why does anyone think this is a good idea or a funny idea?
Someone's going to go. Someone's going to go with it.
No, what do you mean someone's going to go? They're going to sell out all those seats.
I know.
And you know what? Someone's going to try to, use them.
That's what I mean by go.
That's what
I meant by go, by the way. Someone's going to go. Someone's going to do their business. That's who came up with this? I mean, seriously, what marketing genius thought this was a good idea?
Hey, Tommy, see if you can get that. Probably the same marketing people. Get the best of X up here. You see the All-Star rosters were announced. I saw the design for the All-Star jerseys before.
Oh.
And I didn't think, you know what, the National League one, I saw their hats, and I was like, yeah, whatever, they're all right. But now that when you actually see them for real here, it's like just the continued downward spiral. All right, roll the tape here. So these are the 2024 All-Star Game jerseys for those of you watching on TV and online with us right now. And all you can really say is, you expect people to actually buy these?
Those are Little League jerseys. They are Little League jerseys.
The American League one is terrible. It's beyond bad.
You're right. It sucks. National League, the colors are better, but it's still, know what it is, Morency? They just continue to get weaker and weaker and put no thought or effort into this stuff. We've been talking about this all year, looking like a softball team with the bad pants and whatever. It's like, guys, like every year, like what's the deal here? Can we get something?
Because
it's an all-star game. Do better.
They're running out of ideas and they want you to buy stuff. They should wear their home jerseys or their road jerseys.
Yeah, but
that's what I want to see. I want to see the Dodger grays. I want to see the red girl, the Yankee pinstripe, stuff like that. I don't want to see these made-up jerseys. It's all about money. And to my mind, it's reduced my enjoyment of the game. I don't know who these players are now. I mean, I know who they are, but I used to love back in the day when, you might see Davey Lopes, Ron Say in their Dodger Grays or whatever it might be. Gabe, you and I were talking Monday about the big play in the All-Star game in '79 with, with Dave Parker threw out Brian Downey, threw it to Gary Carter. It was great seeing those jerseys, and all the players on the bench standing and cheering, seeing all the different jerseys there. I like that. Now they're all uniform, literally uniform, same jersey. It just, in my mind, takes away some of the enjoyment of watching an All-Star game.
No, you're right, and especially in the old days, and we're older now, but it's still the same theory. That was the whole point, the cool thing of the All-Star game. You're representing your team, and I remember I have the exact memory, like you said, Kurtz, of everyone down the first baseline, right, and being excited. Oh man, they're getting to the Expos now, in front of Montreal Expos, right? And then they got the gear on, and you see the uniform, and that's the way it should be. All you got to do too is fans, and look at fans, and the whole thing is too. So like we said, so why do they do these things? Well, you figure for marketing. Number one, nobody buys these things. Okay. Number two, they're almost impossible to find. Like, what I mean? I always see these jerseys and I look them up after, and you can't buy them. They're not really available. You got to wait this. So like, they're not making a ton of money by doing these things anyways. They're putting zero effort into them and creativity. And one thing, and Kurtz and Cam, but Kurtz, like people love patches and stuff that aren't on stuff, right? Like World Series patches. Like this jersey, I loved it. Oh, look, you got the World Series patch on it.
Patches.
Just put an All-Star patch on it.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
After Atlanta won the draft lottery, that I was taking Ricochet number 1. When he was at plus 425, I said Ricochet's going number 1. Well, hot damn, who's the big minus money favorite to go number 1 in the draft? Zachary Ricochet. Hopefully you had jumped on this earlier enough because the trains left the station.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score in the stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben, I don't know, I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. I got a dude on Twitter sending me some Tour de France pics here right now, telling me to keep my eye on these riders, as it is the Tour de France right now. And in fact, I don't know if it starts tomorrow or the first stage, or there's so much going on right now. I'm not on top of the Tour de France. My apologies. My problem with the Tour de France is it takes forever. They Tour France. So you bet on this, and it's literally like weeks and like different stages, and they take breaks at the end of the day. So how long, when do you actually get paid? For the record, the favorite is like minus 200 as well. And the second choice is plus 200. So I don't really see a ton of value here. But if anybody tuning in has some Tour de France thoughts, feel free to share them. Shout out to, who is this? Shout out to DJ Robbie Robs, tuning into the show to inform me my boy Nick Lewis is now the receivers coach of the Calgary Stampeders. Mm-hmm. So in other words, they're going out to Shea Parade this week and lay the points with the Montreal Alouettes. And Shea Parade is a famous strip club in Montreal that has been the downfall of many professional athletes. It's caused divorces, breakups, all kinds of drama. It's caused good teams to lose. And in fact, Whitey Herzog, former famous St. Louis Cardinals manager, this is in the old days when they were really good, too. This is in the 80s. And they would always lose in Montreal all the time. And he couldn't figure it out at first. He was like, I don't understand why we always get swept here. We never do well here in Montreal. And he realized it was because the players were all going to strip clubs all the time. So it was deemed the Shea Parade rule, in which Whitey Herzog said, no more Shea Parade when we come to Montreal. Times aren't like they used to be. There used to be these clubs on every block in Montreal, but Shea Parade is still there. And pro players still do go there. All right, we got the front row seats at the stadium here for whatever reason. See, this would make sense at the Oakland Athletic. Do this with the White Sox because they're crap. It's like, you know what? We suck so hard. We're going to have a promo here. Yeah. We're going to put toilets. That'll just piss the players off. But I don't understand the humor of this, or like what like, I don't know. At least they got those little drink holders there. You sit on this thing.
Well,
they don't look comfortable.
I was wondering what those things were.
Yeah. You got to have a beverage holder.
One thing I did find was funny on the back of them. In the back of them, there's magazines. There's there's a thing with magazines. No, there is. It's true. Like, I don't know if you guys get the back. There's.
That's fantastic. That's good. Come on.
It's just so bizarre. It's like, oh, let's go to the game and sit on those toilet seats and pay extra money.
That can't be comfortable.
There's no plumbing. Like, you can't take it. Like, you can't go. Like, where's the plumbing?
No, but we don't want people. Like, I don't know. Like, is this what we've come to? Luxury suite where you don't have to get out of your seat and you take a dump? Is this what you want? Like, I don't want to sit next to some guy taking a dump.
Hey, buddy, can pass me the magazine? Okay.
You're sitting there. Let's go Dodgers. You're sitting on the
game, right?
Let's go Dodgers.
You're right. I just don't understand the concept. Like,
does the usher come over and wipe your ass for you? Hey, usher, get over here. Like, what is this? Like,
you're right. Like in the boardroom, what do you say? I got an idea. Toilets. Okay, keep on talking, Jim. Like, are they soft?
Hold on. I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out what they're plastic. Yeah. Like,
so that's, you know what though? They're not even soft. So what's the point?
Circus, that bar in Circus used to have that. Some place in Vegas they have the little toilet drinks. So you're walking around with a mini toilet and you're drinking. Yeah. And even that I'm not a fan of.
One drunk guy.
Yes.
In these toilets.
Especially in the viral TikTok era, bro. Some guy's going to say, dude, I don't care. I'll get arrested. I'm just going to whip it out and take a leak on this thing.
Oh, leak. I'm worried about the other things. We got big problems here.
Be a $1 beer night or $10 beer, whatever the hell it was in the 70s with the, wasn't that the White Sox too with Vecchio? That's all. This is nightmare.
You're right, Morency. Like, you're just asking for trouble here. This is basically waiting for some stooge to go, like, let's do this. Like, there's no other ways, like, to think about this. That's like, Tell me why then? Other than somebody's going to do something stupid. Like, what's the benefit?
Who approved this? Why would somebody throwing it out there? Okay, you throw everything out there, right? But who would say, "Whoa, Cam, that's a good idea. Let's run with that"? Who would say that?
You know what's crazy about this? It's actually like a Major League Baseball affiliate, too. It's not just a fly-by-night operation. Like, you know, some of these like teams, independent league, like will do anything. This is the Cleveland Guardians A-ball affiliate. The Lake County Captains.